and welcome to Thursday Morning Coffee Break with DCE Law. I hope everyone's Thursday is starting out well. I feel like we're kind of standing around the coffee pot right now, getting our coffee and talking, which is why I named this Thursday Morning Coffee Break. But I wanted to come on and talk about branding again. I know I started talking about it last week, and it has become such a big topic when you think about branding from the standpoint of the perspective on how you want everyone to feel when they look at your website or they look at your social media page or whatever it might be. And obviously the whole purpose of branding is to make it unique to you. And in doing so, you have to also, though, make sure that you're not invading or infringing on someone else's trade dress or trademark. So I wanted to talk a little bit more about trademarks and trade dress, because while the marketing industry has labeled trademarks and trade dress as branding, from the legal perspective, we look at that as a trademark matter. And so when we look at those things, we have to say, okay, what's the look and feel? What's the name of the company or organization or person? And what is the look and feel that you want to impart on people in order for them to entice them to look at your material and obviously buy from you, whatever it is you're offering, a service or a product. And what's interesting nowadays is, the attention span has become very limited. And so it takes now up to 18 contacts before someone may want to purchase from you. Or it takes up to 10 contacts before they start getting used to your brand and knowing that in fact that's you that's coming on and then look in that feel. And what's interesting also, if you think about it, is how when you portray yourself in a certain way, you are actually you're providing the public with a look at your personality and the personality of your organization. But let's just focus right now on, rather than the art of branding, which is very important, and we could go on for hours talking about that and the different aspects of it, but let's talk about the idea of trademarks from a legal standpoint. Last night, I joined a friend of mine who is a social marketing coach, and we were talking about branding because she wanted me to talk about it from the legal standpoint. And you have to start with trademarks. So what you have to do is you have to take a look at the United States Patent and Trademark Office. If you have decided on a name for your company, and it could be your own personal name, I have my personal name. I have a website for my personal name, Deb Sermonaro, and then I have my DCE Law, and then I have a business website as well. But all of those things are trademarked, so you have to trademark all of these things. And what trademark does is it gives you the right to tell the world that you have priority and ownership of that name, that particular name. So if anybody tries to use it, then they are infringing on your on your trademark, name, logo, whatever it is. The assumption is that they are. And then what would happen is, if in fact you find somebody is infringing, they'd have to show otherwise. But you don't want to be the person doing that, right? Because it can get very expensive very quickly when that happens. And what it could also do is make you, as the business owner, have to redo all of your branding, and you don't want that to happen. The worst case scenario is, one, you'd have to pay somebody because you've infringed on their patent, and there are statutory damages that go along with that infringement, as well as payment of their attorney's fees and costs. So you don't want to have to go down that route. First off, we want to set you up for success. The other thing that you want to remember is, if in fact you do that, not only you're talking about that expense, but now the expense and the effort of rebranding. And while sometimes rebranding can be good, if you look at, let's take Dunkin' Donuts, which was becoming archaic in the world of coffee and breakfast foods until it rebranded itself, right? So there are a lot of entities that have successfully rebranded it themselves, but for good reason, because they were working in a different domain. That's not you. You don't want to have to 3 years down the road or 5 years down the road redo your branding. So these are the steps, and I do have a course that I offer that takes you through the steps of setting up your business from beginning to the point of getting your federal identification number as well as your bank account and all of that. So we take you through the steps. But one of the first steps is to decide, of course, on your name and to have some idea of the look and feel that you want for your company. If you're using your own personal name, great. Go ahead and use it. That's fine. Go and check with the Patent and Trademark Office, and you do that by going to www.uspto.gov, and I will put that in the information once we're done, in the caption once we're done with this live. But you want to go to the USPTO office, and you want to check. And it's very simple. You do a search, and you just type in the name, and then it will tell you if there's an application pending. It will tell you whether there was an application, whether it was granted, and whether it's still active, because it will tell you if it's dead. It will say that it's no longer active. If it's dead, that means that you can go ahead and grab it, because trademarks are good permanently as long as you renew every 5 years. So you still have to pay a renewal fee every 5 years, and you have to demonstrate to the USPTO that in fact you're still using the mark in commerce. So nonetheless, if it's dead, great, you can go ahead and you can claim it. If there's no name on it, if it comes up with nothing, 0 hits, then that means it's available and you can claim it. Now, do you want to go ahead and file for your application for your mark? If you have the money, yes, but it is a little more expensive. It's $250 to file your application fee per category or classification, which means that, and that's where it's good to talk with an attorney and somebody that knows what the classifications are and mean, because there are hundreds of classifications, and you want to be as general as possible with your classification to get the most bang for the buck. But there are just different ways of doing it, and you don't want to be in a situation where you are, you've gotten to the end of your application, you've clicked all these classifications, and now you owe, you have to pay $2,000. No, it's $250, and if you do it right, we can get you in just one classification to start and get that done and out of the way. And at least you know that you have ownership, public ownership of that particular brand that you've created or you're going to be creating. And if you're already using it in commerce, that's fine. If you're already using it on social media, if you've been using it for a while on social media, that's fine. But go ahead and check with the trademark office just to be safe. Do it now. Just do it. Go and do it, and just make sure and put your mind at ease that nobody else is claiming ownership of that. When I was talking with my friend last night, she said that there are actually several different women with her same name, and she has a unique name, and one is an opera singer. So she's like, she can't claim her name as her trademark because somebody else has it, and she even has a unique name. So the point is, you want to make sure that you're starting off on the right foot and you're setting yourself up for success, because we don't want to have to go back and redo the wheels. So once you've done that step, you are on your way. You're well on your way. Now you want to go to your state division of corporations or division of business, whatever it's called in your state, here in Florida. And remember, all of the information that I provide on my lives or on my social media and website is based on Florida law, because I'm a licensed attorney here in Florida. Sorry, I didn't say that earlier. I'm a licensed attorney here in the state of Florida. So any information that I provide is based on Florida law. But also, if I'm talking about federal law, I can go ahead and I can talk about federal law. I'm admitted to practice in 2 of the districts here in Florida, but federal law is general. So we don't necessarily have to have a license to say, oh, this is what the federal law says. But this is very important because this is general information. Now we're going to go to the state-specific information. From a state standpoint, you want to make sure, again, that you check with your division of corporations or business in your state. Here in Florida, it's called the Division of Corporations. It's housed under the Secretary of State's office, and what it does is it monitors everything that's done by businesses and their applications. And so once you've searched and you know that the name is available with the trademark office, now you want to go to your state office and you want to make sure that the name is available there. And you do that here in Florida by going to www.sunbiz.org. And you type in the search, because you're going to search the names of all of the types of businesses. You type in the name that you want. And then for me, it was DCE Law. And then you see that it's available, so you know you can go ahead and you can file your paperwork. As a corporation, I always promote establishing a corporation, not an LLC. You actually get more protection with a corporation and more tax benefits with a corporation than with an LLC. It's a misnomer because the term limited liability company makes one think that, oh, that's the best way to go. And really your best form always, hands down, is going to be a corporation. Nonetheless, you're going to go ahead and you're going to file at that time. The next step that you take is going to be to get your URL. So you're going to go through all of these steps, and you definitely want to make sure you get your website at the same time. Because if you don't, then what will happen is cyber squatters will come in and they'll take that name, okay? And they will take that URL, and then they will go ahead and they will say, oh, sure, you can have it for $500 or $1,000 or whatever. So these are steps that you have to take. But the point of all of this is protecting your trademark, protecting your brand, protecting the look and feel of it, because there are design marks too. And it can get expensive. So do everything, this is information that you want to take with a grain of salt, from the standpoint of you don't have to do all of the trademarking of all of your brand at one time. You can do it in baby steps. I've got to go ahead and take a sip of tea. I call this coffee break, but I like tea and drink that more than coffee. So anyhow, these are the things that you want to do as you go through this process. And once you get to the point where you have the name down, then you can follow the rest of the course and go through and get everything done, from your EIN number to filing as a subchapter S organization, and I show you how to do that as well. So you've got this information at your fingertips. Most important, remember, make sure that your name is not already taken. Make sure that your trade dress isn't the same as somebody else's. And trade dress means that branding look and feel of your social media, the look and feel of your website, the colors that you use, the way you use those colors. And if in fact that's fine, you're good to go. Launch your business. But as soon as possible, when you have the money, trademark your name so you don't have to worry about anybody else snagging it. Thank you for joining me this morning. I wish you all well, and I hope you have a wonderful Thursday from here. Bye. Okay.